Welcome back, everyone, to OpenLine. We are talking with Ann Ward. She is the CEO of CircleClick Media. She is joining us from Austin, Texas, via Zoom. There she is. Talking about online scams and cybersecurity. And privacy, as it relates to social media, is very important here, right? I mean, in this segment, you want to talk about protecting yourself. But what about privacy as it relates to social media?
Absolutely. So I think that, we talked a lot about the problems. Now I want to talk about solutions. So I really think that, it's easy to put apps on your phone and it's easy to upload things to social media. But very rarely in life do you need people to know exactly where you are at a certain time. So something I tell a lot of people to do is wait until you get home from vacation to post those vacation photos, especially if you plan on doing them publicly. If your Instagram is public, go ahead and wait until you get back to gloat about your luxurious beach vacation, because, there have been many cases of people having their homes burglarized because you're essentially announcing to the world, hey, I'm not home. So, a really simple thing to do is to just not post and give your physical location, unless it's on your way out and you're heading home, or some fail safe in place, so you're not necessarily telling the world, hey, come break into my house because I won't be there for a week.
That's pretty smart. Yeah.
Yeah, because it's tempting, but let yourself live in that moment. Enjoy your trip. You can gloat to your friends later. It may be more fun that way too. You never know. So I think another thing people don't really realize when they install new apps on a smartphone is you do not have to give every app permission to everything it's asking for. So if you're, installing a new social network that you're trying out, you don't have to give it camera and GPS access. You don't have to give it access to your contacts. It's going to ask, but that does not mean you need to say yes. So by default, when I install or try out a new app, I don't give it anything. And I wait until I specifically, from using the app, am asked to give permission to something. And it's like, okay, well, I do need to upload a picture. I'll let it do the camera. You don't actually have to give it. You don't have to give your GPS location to any app unless you really want to. So one way to maintain privacy is to just think about it. Take that second and say, do I really need to upload this right now? Do I really need this app on my phone? And, if you find yourself spending too much time on that app, just take it off the phone and only use it on the computer. That's okay too. That's what I have done with some social networks during the last few years, just to try and not get burned out on it. Because it's a very real thing. But there are actually apps you can use to measure how much time you're spending. Like the Moment app, you can have it lock you out if you don't want to spend more than 30 minutes on Twitter all day.
That's great. I like that. That's a great idea.
There are tools for that. But something else I think people really, need to know is that humans can't generally generate passwords that are super secure. Like, if you're using the name of your pet, or if you're using, your address or something that's publicly available, that can, any word in a dictionary is generally a standard practice for password phishing. They go through dictionary words.
Wow.
So you can use, an app like 1Password, for example, and have it generate. So use robots to fight robots, right? Like you use tools to fight against. You can generate a secure password from a utility, and then make sure that those passwords are different. You don't want a single point of failure in your security. I know it's a pain, but
it is a pain, though. It's a big pain, and it's hard to remember all those things.
It is. There are apps that will help you, but you can also write them down on a piece of paper or in a pad and keep them in a locked drawer. I have done that in certain instances, kept something on paper if it's easier. That's one way to do it temporarily. But, I think you really just need to, think about what you give access to for any given app, because probably doesn't need your GPS. It just wants it.
Why does it ask for all that? I hate that it asks for all that stuff.
Because that's how apps are designed. They're designed to gather as much data and pull you in with it. So, phones by their nature are addictive. They're candy colors. They're meant to appeal and draw you in to spend time on them. That is in essence what they're created to do, which is why, at 10 o'clock every night, my phone turns to grayscale. Because I have it set to do that, and you have no idea how much less you want to be on it when it's not color. So it's not that there's anything malicious going on. It's just the app is trying to use every bit of information it can to sell itself to you. And the more you're using it for different functions, the more you're going to keep using it, and so the more the company will make, either through ads or your services or whatever, however they're monetizing.
Very interesting. Okay, we have about like 3 minutes left, and so those are great takeaways. You don't want to just scare people. There are things we can do to protect ourselves. Is there anything else you want to highlight? Because you said you don't want people just to be scared, but you want them to be empowered. Exactly,
and so I think in general, it's really good to not keep your GPS on if you don't need it. Your phone, when you're hanging out with other people, is talking to those people's phones. And if all of your GPSs are on, then you can expect within a certain amount of time that you're going to be seeing ads for what they've purchased. There's a conversation going on between the phones, whether you realize it or not. And one of the ways it figures it out is through GPS. So if you're really worried about privacy, I would just turn it off. I try to turn it off whenever it's not in use, just because I don't think that I want to give away that data. So, there's also lots of great tools out there for your privacy. I personally like Privacy Badger, which is a free plugin you can use in the browser, any internet browser from the Electronic Freedom Foundation. And you can essentially stop scripts from following you around on the web. So you can put all kinds of free utilities in your internet browser.
Can your phone hear you? Because I think people say that sometimes they're talking about a product and suddenly they get an ad for a product. What about that? How does that happen?
So that's a very real thing. I've had it happen to me. I think, people forget that they have voice assistants on their phones enabled. And so your phone is listening to you talk, because if you have, Siri on, it's going to try Siri's listening in. So that's a very real thing. I have actually coined a term for that. So it's called digitalia. When that creeped out feeling you get when you see an ad around the web for something that you didn't search for, that you simply talked about or mentioned to a friend. Because we've all had it happen. It's very common. And I think, with the advent of voice assistants, Alexa in your home, Google Home, all these devices, expect that they're listening.
Well, that is creepy. That's unfortunate.
It's very creepy.
That's just not good at all. Well, this has been a good conversation. I really thank you. Ann Ward, CEO of CircleClick Media, for coming on. Thank you, Ann.
Thank you.
All the way from Austin, Texas. A lot of good information. So thank you for coming on. We are going to take a break. I'll come back. I'll wrap everything up, but we'll take a break. I'll be back right after this.